Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our September 5th board meeting. Please join us in the pledge. Councilwoman Miller.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Here.
Councilman McCarthy?
Here.
Councilwoman Noack?
Here.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Here.
Councilman Lohman?
Yeah. Okay. We will begin sitting as Board of Water Commissioners. Deputy Clerk.
On the Board of Order, we have the minutes of August 8th and one resolution for a transfer between budget accounts. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Yes. Reconvening as Town Board.
On correspondence, the Building Department report from July 2023. Nisconset Festival Day, Sunday, September 10th, from 10 to 5. Comac High School Homecoming Parade, Saturday, October 7th, from 1 till approximately 2. Smithtown Chamber of Commerce 5K Running of the Bull, Saturday, October 28th, from 9 to 12. The Nisquogue River State Park Foundation 5K Turkey Trot on Thursday, November 23rd, from 9 to 10. Resolution 22194 for the High School East Homecoming Parade has been withdrawn by the applicant. And the last one is the Community Association of St. James Halloween Parade on Sunday, October 29th, from 12:30 to 2. Under public hearings, we have one public hearing. It's for the Town Board to consider proposed local law 14/2023, the readoption and revision of Town Code Part 1. And Jennifer Junks, Assistant Town Attorney, is here to describe the changes.
Good afternoon, Supervisor and council members. The only matter on your public hearing today is, as the clerk indicated, is your consideration to revise and adopt changes to Part 1 of the Town Code. Part 1 embodies the administrative legislation of the town that covers its day-to-day operations. The town's been in the position of revising large portions of the code, but at this point, Part 1 has some pieces that are ready to adopt. And so I just want to explain very basically what those are. Nothing contained in this local law affects the status of any local law ordinance or resolution contained in Part 1, and such local laws, ordinances, and resolutions may be amended, deleted, or changed from time to time as the town board deems appropriate and desirable. Parts of the local laws or ordinances that are inconsistent with the provisions contained in Part 1 adopted by this local law would be repealed, but only to the extent that they're inconsistent, and any valid legislation that's not inconsistent remains in full force and effect. So the following boards, commissions, and committees will be removed from the Town Code: Building Permit Review Board, Fire Prevention and Building Code Review Board, Historical Advisory Board, Human Rights Commission, Industrial Advisory Board, Medical Board of Trustees, Recycling Committee, Substance Abuse Prevention Council, Tenant Selection Advisory Committee, and the Traffic Safety Board. The following policies will be removed from the Town Code: Computer Policy, Drug-Free Workplace Policy, Equal Employment Opportunity Policy, Hearing Conservation Policy, Investment Policy, Sexual and Other Harassment Policy, Workplace Violence Prevention Policy. These policies will be removed from the code, but they remain in effect throughout the town, and they're available from the town offices. The following local laws will be removed from the Town Code. Local Law Number 1 of 1996, Chapter 53, Article 3, involving the Officer of Controller. Local Law 3 of 1996, Chapter 53, Article 4, that handles the offices of Purchasing Director and Budget Officer. Local Law Number 6 of the year 2000, Chapter 66, involves Retirement Incentive Program. And the fourth one is Local Law Number 8 of the year 2004, Chapter 53, Article 5, involving the Office of Town Engineer. These are minor revisions coming out that have to do with the residency of the person holding that office. Other changes that are going to be included in Local Law 14-2023 involve Chapter 9, Appearance Tickets, Section 9.2 is amended to change the title of Superintendent of Sanitation to the title Sanitation Supervisor. And Section 9.3 is amended to comply with state law as follows. An appearance ticket other than for a parking violation shall be personally served, except that an appearance ticket issued for a violation of Chapter 322 of our zoning code or of a building or sanitation code found in Chapters 112 or Chapter 177 respectively may be served in any manner authorized for service under Section 308 of the Civil Practice Law and rules involving service of process. Another change will be to Chapter 21 of the Town Code involving the Conservation Board. Section 21-4A is amended to remove the chairman's salary amount and to revise the text as follows. The chairman of the Conservation Board of the Town of Smithtown shall receive compensation in an amount set by the town board. Chapter 40 involving records is amended to match updated requirements for responding to requests under the Freedom of Information Law. And the last item that's part of this codification change is Chapter 53, Article 1, involving the defense and indemnification of officers and employees is amended to reflect that the notice must be provided within 10 days instead of 5 days currently. That's the extent of the changes at this time. If there are any questions, I'll try and answer them.
Any questions by the board?
Thanks, Jen.
Okay.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to be heard on this public hearing? None being observed, I will move to close the hearing.
Second.
Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes, thank you, Counselor.
On consent agenda, controller, number 1 to 22, as described in the agenda, and consent resolutions, there are 2, plus the minutes of August 8th.
Is there anyone on the town board that wishes to remove any resolutions from the consent agenda?
No.
No, thank you.
Deputy Clerk?
Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Authorize the town clerk's office to advertise for bid 2369 hazardous household waste program, bid 70 annual contract for planting of street trees, and 72 refuse removal from town facilities. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Award the following bids and authorize the purchase of the associated goods or services. Bid 2367 for a 6-wheel dump truck to Trucks Incorporated, and 2365 for animal shelter supplies to the Barn Pet Food and Supplies. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
The town board to issue a secret negative declaration determination in the matter of the change of zone petition 2023-03 by Jane Nazario Partnership for the reasons as stated in a memorandum from the Environmental Protection Director. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
The town board to approve the following. The town board declares property located at 422 Lake Avenue South in Nisconset to be in violation of Chapter 221 of the code, and further determines that since the owner has failed to remediate the violations after 72 hours notice of same, the town board hereby demands that the property owner remove all violations thereof pursuant to the notice. Adoption of the retention incentive program for part-time superior officers and essential personnel in the Department of Public Safety. Amendments to Chapter 108 of the Town Code entitled Boat Basin and Mooring Areas in regards to fees and transient rentals. Authorize the proposal from FPM Group dated August 17th to provide professional services in conjunction with Organic Facilities quarterly reporting at the municipal service facility for the Department of Environment and Waterways at an annual cost not to exceed $10,000. Authorize the town board to submit an application for grant funding for Round 7 of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative Program and Round 2 of the New York Forward Program. Amendment to the 2023 Highway Road Program to add Hill Road, Sheffield Court, Bryan Meadow Park, and Martin Gill. Change orders 7 through 9 to bid 22115 for Paul Fitzpatrick Country Club deck and canopy roof with P. de Blasio Builders. The next 4 resolutions are extensions of bid. Bid 2216 for steel stock with Pennsylvania Steel Company, 99 for 6-wheel trucks with options with Trucks Incorporated, number 12 for polyethylene bags with Interboro Packaging Corporation, and number 82 for lawn and garden supplies with Nassau Suffolk Turf Services. The relocation of solar panels at Paul J. Fitzpatrick Country Club by Greenleaf Solar, agreement with SHI Government Solutions to provide Datto Infinite Cloud Retention Disaster Recovery Support Services, an addition of GEI Consultants to the town's 2023 pre-qualified list of professional service consultants, and the last is Laser Industries Incorporated to furnish and install synthetic turf, baseball infield, and fence at Sprophero Park. Councilman Lohman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes, but abstain on 7.
Okay. Supervisor Wareman.
Yes.
The town board to approve zone change petition 2023 as submitted by J. Nazaro Partnership for a change of zone from office business to neighborhood business for property located on the east side of Route 111, south of Route 347. Councilman Lohman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Authorize the acceptance of a donation from Kian Cavarus of $200 to the animal shelter. Councilman Lohman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Authorize the supervisor to execute the following resolutions on a form approved by the town attorney. An agreement with Cintas to provide automated external defibrillator devices to the town for a 36-month term. A retainer agreement with Lamb and Bernowski for labor and general litigation matters. A Recreation Department specialized service agreement for town residents with Smithtown Ninja for classes starting in September through November. Recreation Department agreement with Henry P. Kilroy to provide golf lessons for town residents. A memorandum of understanding with National Wildlife Federation, and amendment to contract RFP 1779 with VHB Engineering for professional services to complete a master plan for downtown Kings Park revitalization. Councilman Lohman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Approve settlement in the following matters per the recommendation of the town attorney. Caution for $12,338.27 and Perchaki for $11,076.02. Councilman Lohman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Authorize amendments to the traffic code to add no parking on Riviera Drive North from Walnut Road West for 150 feet. Councilman Lohman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
And personnel items number 115 to 15 as described on the agenda. Councilman Lohman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes. We have 4 read-ons, I believe.
Yes. The first read-on is for the Horizons Department for a transfer between budget account, and the other 3 are for part-time appointments in the school-age childcare program, 5 appointments for assistant recreation leader, and 1 appointment for a recreation leader. Councilman Lohman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes. That concludes resolutions. We will move to the public portion. I see we have some folks that are wishing to speak. Before we start, public participation is subject to the rules of decorum, which you have on your speaker cards as per Town Code Section 76.7. Public portion is for town-related matters only. Any unsubstantiated, unverified, or material false information will be interrupted. The 3-minute rule will be strictly enforced. When you hear the tone, you have 1 minute to wrap up your statement. Deputy Clerk.
William Holst.
Good afternoon, Mr. Supervisor and members of the Town Council. I'm William Holst, a resident of Smithtown, and I know very soon you'll be working on the budget. I would anticipate that the supervisor would be presenting you with a preliminary budget. And I think that you're here today on, I can't say an unusually hot September day, as I feel that each year, we're seeing more summer-like weather in September. So I hope you've been having a good summer, and it seems like it's going to continue. Unfortunately, the pool at Landing is not open today. The splash parks or water parks are not open today. And I don't know if that's due to not having a rainy day fund or whatever, but in light of your working on a budget for next year, I think you ought to seriously consider the need to have people in place. So as next summer continues or happens, we don't have a situation that we have this year where the splash parks and the pools are closed. Other municipalities somehow are able to have their pools and splash parks open. So I would suggest that you don't think in terms of a rainy day fund, but sort of a sunshine fund for next year, and that would allow for the pools to be open and for people to continue enjoying the warmth of the summer. I think that the other thing you ought to seriously consider is when these splash parks are open. As the grandfather of a 2-year-old who gets up very early in the morning and has my daughter out the door by 9 o'clock, it seems very difficult for 2- and 3-year-olds to wait till 11 o'clock to get the splash parks open. So I'd hope you consider that in your budget process. And I know there's other towns in the area that open their water parks or splash parks at 10 o'clock instead of 11 o'clock. And so those are the items that I'd like to mention today. I think it's very appropriate since you're going to be working on the budget, and also we're experiencing this warm September weather. And I wish you all a good rest of your summers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holtz.
Patty Stoddard?
I think Bill mentioned what I was thinking about, so I'll pass it.
Okay. And the last is Erwin Eisen.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm here again to speak on behalf of Callahan's Beach. Having attended the beach this past weekend, walked on the shore, progress is being made on the beach. I want to thank you very much. Seems to be some work that's being done there. And I want to just point out a couple other issues if I can. Number one, when I appear before you on behalf of Callahan's Beach, it's a nonpartisan issue. It's not a Democrat versus Republican matter, Mr. Supervisor. It's me as a resident of the town of Smithtown wanting to use the beach. Number two, the fact that the DEC's comments on this project on October 11, 2022, a letter to Mr. Barnes shows me that there was no consultation with the DEC early on this project. And I find that to be an error. By the town, the DEC, the town's DEC department, the town's parks department, and in general, the project could have been better managed if you would have consulted with the DEC ahead of time. Number three, the project itself has many components. If you look at the DEC's comments, extending the bulkhead to where phase 2 would have been was not what the DEC was looking at. Having the bulkhead not match the neighboring property in the design and the aesthetic look was not what the DEC was looking at and looking to approve. So my point is, number one, the town engineering department, the town environmental waterways department, the town's parks department should have been in coordinated effort with this project early on 2 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all.
No other speakers? I'll move to close the meeting.
Supervisor Waring?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilman Bowman?
Yes. Thank you very much for attending. Be safe.